Hey y'all. Y'all, we gonna get into this because listen, and I don't know if y'all went and watched the four part documentary, but I did. Hello to y'all. Welcome in as y'all come in. So I think y'all probably know at this point we will be live on YouTube today. I think I got a lot to say about what this documentary showed. Because during the time that Nature Boy was popular on YouTube, I didn't watch him. But I did listen sometimes when Nyla would review. I would listen sometimes when she would, but I didn't really watch Nature Boy. Hey, Jules. Hey, LH and Lovely B. D Task Maker. Hi. Yeah, I gotta grab some of my tea real quickly. Oh, I gotta go grab one thing actually. Hold on. I forgot. And then I got to keep this on our time limit because I actually got therapy after this. So, hold on for a second. Okay. So, y'all know I like to come on here and convene with y'all first and talk to y'all before we go on YouTube, which we will be well, for me, it'll be 1 o'clock on the West Coast. And so that's when we're going to go over there and I'm going to go start over there. But um, you said you start watching it last night and you can't tell me how many times. Yeah, girl, listen. I'm like, so when I start watching it, I was like, yeah, this is showing me a lot about not just black women, but black men. Why and it was so easy to subjugate black people and why black people have not been able to get from under the subjugation of other people. It told me a lot about black people's pathology and not just black men, black women's, because I think we tend to fall into patriarchal programming, which gives us the notion and the disbelief because it's not a correct notion. It gives the false notion that the men are the most important, and they're not. The men are not what's most important here. When it comes to physical ability and fighting off attackers, obviously, if you live in a society with other males, that's going to rely on the males. But the core, most important thing to any community is the women. It just really, you don't have a community without women. And so when we look at the black community and the positioning of the black community now, we can't just think about black men's mentality. We have to talk about black women's too. And I think that's what we about to get into that soon. Hold on. I just need there we go. Yeah, we got to get into black women's mentality as well. We really do. And I think that that's something that we just have not been talking about, and we kind of need to talk about it. We need to talk about what we saw in that documentary because again, it showed me like a ton about black women's pathology. You said you can't believe a whole crackhead, right? A whole crack bandit, like a crackheaded bandit, because that's exactly what it was. It's like a little crack baby bandit. And the fact that he said he was born a crack baby, I start dying because it was literally giving crack baby vibes. It literally was given like entire crack baby vibes. So when he actually said he was a crack baby, when they did it and they said he was born a crack baby, I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah. Them being a crack baby made complete and total sense. But we're gonna get into that because I think that falls also into some of the stuff that we talk about on a daily basis that we, just complaints that we have on a daily basis, not just about Black men, but about Black women and their willingness to, and Black women's willingness to listen to whatever Black men. But that's at the core of the problem. But before we get into that, I actually want to talk about some stuff that we did not go over yesterday. There was a few things that I wanted to just touch on just briefly. It's not like a whole bunch of it, but I do want to go over it now. Just three things that I wanted to go over.
Battery 100%. Connected to CYNG and Galaxy S26 Ultra.
Let me disconnect it from Galaxy S26. We gonna just disconnect it from there. Cause I got a bunch of notes. I'm gonna let y'all know right now. I took notes. And I had to go into different personality types. Like this had me, like, this documentary literally had me like just wondering about certain mentalities and why and how a group of people would end up being essentially attracted to a crackhead who had absolutely nothing to offer. So, I mean, at some point we gonna have to acknowledge the fact that this was a crackhead who had absolutely nothing to offer. Nothing. Like, nothing to offer. But I wanted to show y'all this, because this is really interesting given everything that we know that's going on out there. Now, I obviously would not, I wouldn't talk about this publicly on YouTube. Like, this is about as much as people are going to see for the people who see the playback and come in. And the reason why I would not talk about this publicly on YouTube, although I could, is because I already know why bandits want me to talk about it. I already know why they want me to. But let me go to TMZ really quickly, because if Bossep is just gonna reference TMZ, then I might as well go to TMZ, which I'm gonna go to it. But I know that bandits only want me to talk about this because they've been in my comment section asking to, and that's why I did that live stream. But the reason I wouldn't do it is because I already know they want to deflect. They literally want to deflect, and I'm not going to help them deflect at all. They want to try and put out a narrative that somehow Black women dating white men is a threat, and no, it's not. Even with this one situation here, is not. And even if you wanted to put that out there, you wouldn't be able to accurately say that white men are the threat. You would have to say men are the threat, because Black men statistically and proven otherwise are the greatest threat to Black women. They are. It looks like I scheduled it on YouTube for a second. Yeah, no, it's scheduled on YouTube for 30 minutes. It should be, but let me look and just make sure that the scheduling is correct, because it should be hang on. No, it should be scheduled to come on in a half hour. Yeah, I scheduled it right. Exactly. So it's scheduled differently. Yeah, no, it's still scheduled. It's not the time yet. The one that's scheduled, that's why it says upcoming, because we're not scheduled to start over there. But can we please just keep the comments to what we're doing now? Because it's really distracting when we insert other stuff in the middle of talking about something. But I want to go over this TMZ article. Like, I'm not going to allow bandits to try to use me as a catalyst to put out their dusty narrative. All they want to do is get ahead of the narrative that they're the biggest threat to Black women. And I'm not going to allow them to do that. Bottom line is, they are the biggest threat. It just is what it is. They are the biggest threat. And it wouldn't matter if you put 20 stories up about white men doing this, Black men still do it more. They still do it exponentially more, to the degree that there's really no comparison. And I really wish that people would come from that angle, although I can't tell people how to do their content. But what needs to really be put out there is the fact that statistically and otherwise, black men are the greatest threat to black women, and it's not just because of proximity. Because if it was just because of proximity, black men's rate of toe tagging black women would be around the same rate as other men's. I'm not going to say it'd be the exact rate, but it will be somewhere around that same ballpark, because we know in people of no colors community, they harm their women too. Not to the same rate though. If this was a proximity argument, then I need somebody to explain why it is that black women are more likely, 5 times more likely actually, to be toe tagged by a black man than a white woman is by a white woman. And it's not just that one stat. It's the stat for all male groups. As a group of men, there are no men who are toe tagging the women in their community more than black men are. And there's no one outside of the community toe tagging black women more than black men are. It's just that needs to be emphasized. And I'm going to re-emphasize that when we do this Nature Boy documentary, because a lot of that pathology was in this documentary too. Like the pathology of black men standing around watching black women be abused, and just like it's just a whole lot to it. But we go get into it, because I'm about to go there. I'm going there with this documentary. I'm going to a place that they ain't gonna want to go, but I'm going there anyway. So actually, Janae's loved ones are saying goodbye this week, but later the influencer's fiance won't be there. Sources tell us Ashley's family did not invite him to the funeral and have not spoken to him. And I'm sure had they spoken to him, clearly he obviously had 100% or at least a good 99% of the reason why she's no longer here. It just is what it is. We already know she was found unconscious in her villa. They ruled it a self-unaliving. But they said when they brought her body home, she didn't have her belongings with her. It said, as we previously reported, her body was returned to them about a week and a half ago. But Ashley's dad tell us they hadn't gotten her belongings back, including her engagement ring. So here's the thing. If this lady had belongings there, and it's not just restricted to that engagement ring, because we can conclude that the person who took the engagement ring was probably the same person who gave her the engagement ring. So it's probably that man. Or that man probably could have gave the engagement ring to whatever black male officials were in that country helping him to get away with the toe tagging of this woman. Because here's the thing. Let's say hypothetically he did toe tag her. This is 100% what I believe. I do believe that he toe tagged her. Or he orchestrated her demise. I would just say that. But how would he be able to get away with that in a country full of black men unless black men helped him? That's what I would like to know. How would he have been even able to get away with this if it weren't from black male officials? Because last I checked, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Tanzania is on the continent of Africa. It's a country within the continent of Africa, mostly populated by black people. We know that this is a patriarchy because we know how misogynistic black men are. So we know that this is a country that is probably ran and governed by black men. So how would this man be able to get away with anything unless black men help him? Because it's not like black men haven't helped men of no color to harm black women before. Right, they've always been treasonous, and they have not changed. And we know they have not changed because they literally they got off the plantation from being subjugated and treated less than an animal. Really, because dogs and cats and birds had more rights and respect than black men do. They still do. Lions, tigers, bears, and giraffes are higher social status and more protected than black men are. And so the bottom line of it is you was over there, you jumped off of a plantation where you were subjugated and oppressed, and you still didn't learn your damn lesson. Like, I want y'all to understand, spiritually, if you can look at this as a karmic lesson for black men betraying black women, yeah, they haven't learned their lesson yet. They haven't learned their lesson. Hundreds of years of being subjugated, And the only thing they did is got off that plantation and start acting the same as the white man that they always want to villainize. When really they just want to be like him, but since they can't one up him, they're trying to go from a if you can't beat them, join them. Okay, but they ain't letting you join them. So now what? You just continue to punch down on black women? That's exactly what they do. So I'm not about to give in to that foolishness at all. But I do want y'all to look at another bandit who was running amok, though. Let's just look at this. Like, I want y'all to understand this. As we sit up here and see bandits trying to take control of a narrative that they ain't gonna take control of. Disturbing Florida bandit arrested for allegedly breaking into a home, sneaking into a 13-year-old boy's room, and y'all see the rest. Let's listen to the news clip of another sick bandit running amok in the community.
Carl Mercier.
37-year-old Carl Mercier faced a Miami-Dade County judge on multiple charges, including sexual assault on a minor, after sheriff deputies said he sexually assaulted a 13-year-old boy as the victim was sleeping inside of his own home.
On count 1, he's going to be held no bond. On count 2, I'm also holding no bond.
Detectives said it was 4:30 in the morning Thursday when Mercier made his way into an apartment at the Park Towers apartment complex off Northwest 155th Lane and 441. After walking right through the front door, investigators said he laid on the victim's bed, placed his hand inside the victim's underwear, and began to fondle him. In the arrest report we obtained, it states the victim was terrified that he was going to be raped, as he said Mercier told him, "Nothing is going to happen. No one is going to come." The boy began screaming, and just as Mercier tried to run off, he was confronted by the victim's parents who were sleeping in another room until deputies arrived and arrested him. We learned Mercier doesn't live in Park Towers, nor does he know the victim. His home address is nearly 3 miles away, which leaves detectives now to investigate how he ended up here and targeted this 13-year-old boy.
You have to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's home, place of employment, or school at all times. You have to also stay away from the following address: Park Tower, Carl Mercier.
37-year-old Carl Mercier.
I want to know what part of white supremacy made him do this. This person said they're going to have a field day with Unc. Congratulations. Why? I'm by my sentiments. My question. I will love it. I will love it. She said she's surprised he's still living, I guess, right house, cause baby, no court date needed. Yeah, but I don't believe that, because there's too many women in the community protecting the likes of him. Bottom line. There's too many women that protect men like him. She said how he know where to go. This is odd and very weird. Why is he still alive? So this question right here makes me believe that she want to try to put this on something other than a bandit. It was this bandit who did it. Exactly. This person said he was watching them for a while because how did he know that boy was there? And he could have absolutely just been watching him for a while. Yep, and that's what it's always going to be, but not all men. Exactly. Well, mind you, nobody even said it was, so it's like, why do you need to remind us of something we never said? Yep, typical bandit behavior. They don't want to talk about this, though. They don't want to talk about this. Now, let me go into this last video of this woman, because this woman right here, because this video is going to segue.
All I want to say
this is going to segue into our discussion, and after this we'll go public on YouTube. But it's 2026. Like, why are black women still? How is this new news? Why is this new news in 2026? Why are black women still puzzled by this in 2026? Let me play the video.
is I wish you all cared this much about the 8 Black women and the 8 Black children that were recently murdered in the last 2.5 weeks. I wish y'all cared that much. Specifically the men who are making all the jokes, all these misogynistic posts and memes about Meg Thee Stallion, like you all are shitting on a Black woman. You all are loud and proud about shitting on a Black woman who is cheated on. You all have found a way to make AI images, to host lives, to garner feedback and engagement. But I did not see this type of push for any of the Black women who were murdered and the Black children who were murdered. Majority of them by the hands of Black men. Which lets me know y'all are not right up here. Y'all are not all the way right up here. I even hosted lives about the Black women and Black children who recently lost their lives. I even just hosted a live about how women could protect themselves from red pill tactics and how women can continue to find ways to keep themselves safe. Because we are going through a full-blown femicide right now. I barely heard shit from the men. Heard some, but I barely heard shit from the men. Now, I can't scroll 2 videos before I see another one of y'all talking about Meg Thee Stallion and Klay Thomas. It's sick. It's truly sick that this is who we have to deal with. That these are our counterparts. And you all are supposed to be leaders of what exactly? I've never
Right,
seen so
lovely
many
bee.
men
Right.
dick slurp a man that they did not know online.
I have.
But when we ask for you all to step up and speak out about the trauma going on in the community, the violations going on in the community, the harm being caused to the community members, we don't get this shit. I'm truly disappointed. All I want to say is I wish you all cared this much about.
Right, and that's the issue. Let's talk about it, okay? Like, let's really talk about it. Because Princess Z, you're absolutely right. You said some Black women are late to the party. They think they can talk to them. Yeah, they do. They do. Black women think that they can appeal to some type of higher consciousness in Black men, or they can appeal to some type of kindness in Black men, and some type of empathy or sympathy that Black men have, or love or valuing or sentiment or whatever. They think that Black men, one, have that towards Black women, and then 2, they think that somehow that if they just appeal to that in Black men, that they can solve a problem. Why Black women haven't learned that this is who they are, this is how they feel about you, this is how they're going to carry on in actions and mentality. I don't understand why Black women haven't gotten that yet. Because if she's sitting in a video saying she never, ever seen so many dudes dick slurp another, you weren't around. Where were you when Kevin Samuels? Because they're still like cyber slurping this dude's corpse, all like dead dick, mind you, skeletal dick, buried dick. They still cyber slurping Kevin Samuels. So I don't understand why there will be a Black woman who's sitting anywhere surprised that she's seeing videos of Black men doing the same thing that they've been. When have they ever not been doing it? When have they ever not been doing it? Because I know I've been on YouTube. I came to YouTube in 2016. So that's like 10 years. They've been doing it every single year that I've been here. So I took 2 years off and went to Patreon. People didn't really see me for like over a year. Bandits are still doing the same thing though. They're still doing the same thing though. Nothing has changed but the calendar date. And so I don't understand why it is that Black women would sit up in any video and claim like this ignorance around, oh, I just never seen. And I'm not saying her video wasn't needed. I'm not saying that her video wasn't needed. Her video is needed, obviously. I think as many Black women pointing out this pattern of behavior, any Black woman pointing out this mentality, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. I think we need more of that. I think we should have already been there. I think it shouldn't take this much. I don't understand why, just as you said, black women are always late to, really late. The party is over for a lot of people. For most women, for a lot of women, the party is over. There's no party to go to. Black women still over there trying to get in through black men's door. Is what they're doing. And it doesn't even matter if she's married or not. It doesn't even matter, because one of the things, as we get into, me reviewing this documentary, because as I said, I learned the most about Nature Boy, which Nature Boy, like most black men, are not innovative. Took this name from a white man. Eligio Bishop is not the first man who made a cult called Nature Boy. Because see, everybody who saw my thumbnail, ChatGPT created that thumbnail. Okay, so I give them the images and say, here, take my image and take theirs and give me a certain expression on my face and make me looking at them fine. I want to show y'all though. I want to show y'all the first image. I want to show y'all the first image that that it came up with for Nature Boy. And it was like diverting to this. Mind you, I gave it clear instructions. And I want to show y'all this. Let me just show y'all this really quick. So this is what it came up with when I told it initially to make me a thumbnail with Nature Boy on it. It pulled up this white dude right here. This white boy. And if you see this here, follow Nature Boy and be free. So this isn't even really like an original concept. We know red pill, blue pill comes from the Matrix. We know bandits didn't come up with men going their own way. We already know, we know bandits took this. They didn't come up with high value man either. They take these concepts that other male groups have already been done, and then they go do it. Because the black man's number one goal is to just do what white men do. Not when it comes to building, not when it comes to conquering anything. Whatever they see white men doing sexually, that's what they want to do. So, because they believe that men of no color were the original passport bros, then they decided they wanted to be passport bros too. They defend it and justify it by saying, well, white men do it, so why can't we do it? Why can't we do what white men do? Just not an original thought. And it's like, the world's dying to see you do what white men do. Go conquer a group of men. Go conquer a group of men and then build a system around you conquering said group of men. And completely, near almost literally, because on the plantation, you were literally being castrated. Now you're just metaphorically castrated. And if we go to that documentary, that man, and don't think it missed me, because we're going to talk about the level of submissiveness of the males. To where that dude said that those men were signing up to be a eunuch. They were signing up to be submissive. So it doesn't surprise me that black men were subjugated by every other group of men. It does not surprise me. Does not surprise me. Mind you, one of the clear things that stood out to me that really validated all of these historical accounts of when you read the slave narrative, then you see who was doing the fighting. You can literally like compare it to this documentary where Nature Boy, because whenever somebody focuses on one person, whenever they target one person, he decided to target Velvet, according to this documentary. Now, we know that there was more to it. We know there was a lot more to it, because if y'all were either watching their live streams during the time or listening to Nyla, when she would review them, there was a lot more to it. But he targeted Velvet because she would not submit to him. He couldn't get her to submit. Even down to the end, he couldn't get that woman to submit. It was very easy to get the man to submit. He didn't have to beat them into submission, although he was trying to do that to Velvet. He didn't have to reward them into submission. They immediately submitted. And I remember one time when, and I believe we were on Patreon, and I asked ChatGPT to pull up the references to who was fighting more and who was submitting on the plantation. And it said throughout time, one, it was very easy to get the man to submit. Very easy. Some of the tactics that they used on black women to break black women would not break black women. It would break black men. But they didn't even have to employ any extreme ways of getting black men to submit because most of them just submitted. That's why they didn't really go to black women to get them, put them in an overseer position because it wouldn't have really worked. Like you weren't gonna get black women to sell out their community. We see parallels between that and now. And then we just had a documentary come out after Tariq already put a documentary out about y'all being bug broken and sucking dick. I guess you just swapped out dick for toes when it came to Nature Boy. But yeah, I don't understand why I saw black men over there literally washing the feet and sucking the toes of another man, and they weren't being forced to. They weren't being forced to. Because understand this, because like I said, I took notes. Understand this. Nature Boy didn't bring any new information to black people at all. Nothing. Nothing that he said was new. Put a 1 in the chat box if you watched the documentary and you heard any new enlightening information that Nature Boy brought to these people. I'll wait. Again, put a 1 in the chat box and next to it, tell me what the new information was. If you heard some new enlightening information in the Nature Boy somehow gave them, put a 1 in the chat box and right after it, put what the new information was. Okay, honest Gen Z, what was the new information? Regurgitation is not new information. What was the new information? Hang on for a second. I'm getting a call really quickly. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. If they call back, I'll figure it out then. But I don't even know who that was. But there was no new information at all. Oh, okay, hold on for a second. Hold on. Okay, you guys, sorry about that. So annoying. But yeah, this dude didn't bring them no new information, none at all. He didn't bring them nothing, not one thing, not one thing. You said imagine using the influence for some good. That bandit just wanted to be in charge of something in his useless life, and still, yeah. Well, he was the typical black man. He was the typical black man, the insecure loser male who does not know how to compete with other men, but understand the mentality of the women in their community. Because this is what a lot of black men do. You don't see them doing anything to really elevate themselves. You see them exploiting black women's desire for a black man specifically to save them. Let me shut this window. Okay, because I was hearing too much out there. The only when black men, and this is why on podcasts you don't see them really talking about elevating. You don't see them subscribing to any desire for a particular field of interest. They can mention STEM as much as they want to. They're not going for STEM careers. They're not trying to be in school. What they're trying to do is make money exploiting black women's mentality. That's what they're doing. They already know that black men are submissive. It's been proven that black men are submissive. So Nature Boy's whole thing was exploiting the mentality of black women, because that's where all the value is. There really isn't value in black men because they don't do anything. To me, there's really no value there. So he didn't bring anything enlightening. He used the same Hotepi narrative that black men constantly use. That the black man is the most subjugated, oppressed, and conquered God that every male group, including the ones who turned them into slaves on a plantation for hundreds of years, everybody just threatened by him. That was basically his narrative. His narrative was, I'm broke, so let me show you how to struggle in the woods, in tents, and shit outside like animals. Like that's literally the only thing. Like he did not bring them anything new. It is the same narrative that we've been hearing over and over and over. We are these displaced gods. We are kings. We have these group of people that are just so threatened by us, even though all of them done subjugated us. Like, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. Like, it's a bunch of, like, I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, this dude done set up here and used this Hotepi bush, and they played. They just fell for it. Again. And like Nature Boy is no different than Kevin Samuels. Except Kevin Samuels is worm food and Nature Boy is now prison food. But the same pathology was there. They used the same tactics. Exploit black women's desire for a black man to save them. Exploit black women's fantasy of a deified black man saving them. That's literally what he did. That's literally what he did. He used religion. He used religion as well, because they know to get black women using religion. And so that's what he did. He appealed to black women's fantasies. That's what he did. He appealed to their fantasies of this male black, but he got to be black. He has to be black. That's why the barometer is only black and male. Those are the only qualifications, that you have to be black and male and willing to falsely beat on your chest and try to pretend that you're a king, all the while literally cowering away from every other male that don't look like you. So, I mean, yeah, Jax Jet, let me look in the comments and see if I see you in there, and then I'll have to do it on this end. But it's gonna have to be later. Email me and send me the link to your YouTube page, and then I'll make it a mod, Jax Jet. But yeah, that was it. That's all I see. Because black women have this deep-seated fantasy, this fantasy that literally overrides their instinct for self-preservation. It overrides their intellect. It overrides their desire to save their offspring. This fantasy that black women have of black men caring and wanting to save them is literally leading black women to only harm and their demise. That's the only thing that's doing. This bandit did essentially the same exact thing that colonizers did to get black people on the plantation. Except instead of giving them little trinkets like alcohol and tobacco, he exploited bandits' fear of other men. He exploited black men's fear of other men. He exploited their fear of other men and the fact that they want somebody to save them from a system ran by a group of men that they cannot defeat. That's how he got black men. Every single black man. Hold on. I don't know why TikTok think it's gonna sit here and come up on my tablet and just start going like you were paused, so you don't get to just like, what are you doing? Like, that's what he did. One of the black men, he said he just wanted to submit to a group of men. He said he was in the military and then he got out the military. It was hard for him to adjust to regular civilian life. Nobody cared about him outside of the military, so he desperately wanted to submit to a brotherhood. That's what one of them said. He desperately wanted to submit to a brotherhood. Look around you in this system of white supremacy that you're currently in and ask yourself, are black men submitting to it or are black men fighting back? And what you will see is black men submitting to it, not just in action and behavior, but in mindset too. In mindset too. Joseph Cameron said, everyone on the internet tried to say you were wrong about everything you have been preaching about for years has been happening in real time over and over. Yeah, I mean, the truth is always going to prevail. Thank you so much for the super chat, but the truth is always going to prevail. And I don't come on here and say anything that I'm not researching and that you would know if I don't know what I'm talking about, because I'll say correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm not saying correct me if I'm wrong, then that means I probably researched it. So thank you for that. I try to make sure I'm speaking the truth. And the truth is black men like to submit. They do. What are your thoughts about the 3 women from the cult that are still defending them? I feel the same way about them as I feel about most black women. And we're going to get into that because most black women have the pathology to some level or degree that those women had there. And as I'm watching the documentary, I'm thinking, this is all he had to say to get these people to give him all his money? This is all he had to do to get people to give up their homes? And like one of those girls said, she blocked her family. She blocked her family so that she could rush off, get on the flight that she paid for, She's getting on a flight that she paid for so she can go out and give her money to this black man who was abusive and degrading and act just like the white supremacists that they complain about. That was the coldest part about it. The coldest part about it is that I was looking at a black man using the same tactics as white supremacist colonizers, and not one of those black people in there were willing to look at the fact that yes, he's over here making white men out to be the big boogeyman, but he actually acts exactly like them. He possesses the same mentality as them. He's using the same sentiments as the white supremacists. I saw no difference between Eligio Bishop and the men in the room with him, Nature Boy. I saw nothing different between them and the narratives of the white supremacists. Nothing. To me, there was nothing. Their mentality towards women, the same. So these are women who, because we're going to get into the mentality of the women. We are going to get into because I took notes on the women specifically. But I want to emphasize this point though. Because when I say that he catered to something in black women and black men, he did. He didn't bring anything new. He saw weaknesses and exploit them. He put out a green light for the people who had a weak mentality and certain weak psychologies, which I told y'all we gonna go down there because I had to do a comparison. I just had to, because I was like, initially in the first part of the documentary, they didn't bring up anything religious. They actually tried to act like this man was spiritual, but he actually wasn't. While he was going on talking about how he's so detached from the system, he was referring to and using the same religion of the system, not spirituality, because he did not weaponize spirituality. He weaponized patriarchal religion, i.e. Christianity. This man didn't bring anything new and spiritual to him. The principles that he used against the women were from the Bible. That's what he used. Again, fear plus religious manipulation. That's how he got these people. Same method that colonizers used. Except I don't know that they necessarily use fear, but they definitely use trinkets plus religion. This bandit used fear plus religion, because what he did is he played on black men's cowardliness and willing to run, hide, and escape from white men rather than to directly confront them. There was one of the women in there who, and I think it was Velvet, who said what drew her in was all of this police brutality that she was watching happen to black men. So we already knew she was black male identified. That's fine. When I first came to YouTube, I was black male identified too. That's why my focus was white supremacy, when really white supremacy isn't carrying out a femicide against black women. Black men are. But when I first came to YouTube, I was caught up in the whole black men is a threat and, oh, these are strong, wounded, displaced warriors, and they're not. But I was caught up in that hype too, because that's the hype that the community pushes. That propaganda is always pushed, that black men, because they lost to white men, they're somehow better. Black men, because they lost to white men, are more moral. Black men, because they lost to white men, because it's literally only resting on the basis that black men got conquered. So they think that because they got conquered and turned into slaves, that means they are more righteous than the man who did it. No, that means you were weaker. That's really all that means. That just means you were weaker. But the fact of the matter is, you got into that position by way of betraying the women in your community. So you didn't have a higher moral code. You were actually much more divisive. You were much more divisive, much more tribal, and less willing to unify with the women and men in your community. Black men are still like that. Ain't nothing changed. They still the same. They still tribal. They'll still sit up and say, oh, they ain't my people. We the Hebrew Israelites. Or we the foundational black Americans. Nuh-uh. We the natives. We were the original Indians. Still tribal and dumb. Still highly disloyal. Still trying to position yourself as a white male, I don't know, enforcer of the black community, because that's how they act, like a white supremacist enforcer of the black community. That is what they're trying to be. That's what they're trying to be. And to a degree, Nature Boy, because that's how he functioned. That's how he functioned. Because that's how he functioned, the black men there agreed with him. Like, he didn't have to lay a hand on those black men because they were already submitting. He didn't have to lay a hand on none of the black men in there had to have a hand laid on them. And soon as he asked him, who am I? Black men were screaming out, I'm your God, or your prophet, or whatever. Soon as he told them to bow to him, nobody jumped on their knees quicker than black men in there. None of them. None of them jumped to their knees quicker. And I was like, they really? So basically, to get black men to fall to their knees, all you have to be is a black man, or a man, or any man. All you have to do is be a man, and black men will easily fall to their knees, because I've never seen such submissiveness. It took nothing. It took nothing. And that's because the nature of the male, I believe, is submissive. And I believe they took actual femininity and they inverted it and called what's natural femininity, they called that masculinity. And then what's masculinity, they called that femininity. Because masculinity is weak, Masculinity is codependent. Masculinity is in need of relationships. Masculinity is selfish. Masculinity is emotionally unhinged. These are masculine traits. Men are the ones who are needy for the relationships, not the feminines. Men are submissive, i.e., the fact that you have men right now submitting to an orange thug. Like, how many male mouthpiece do this man got? How many men were out there calling Trump daddy? Talking about daddy's home is belt to ass now. You see more women fighting them than men. How many men are still cyber slurping and digital deep throating Kevin Samuels? How many of them was saying, well, he was like a daddy to me. He was like the daddy I never had. This bandit exploited a community dynamic that black men created, also that they can exploit it. You got a bunch of daddyless crack babies running around, just running amok in desperate need of a daddy. And then you got a bunch of male-identified women. Because all of those women were male-identified. They were all pick-me's who had already been wrapped up in the narrative of a pick-me. Like, they all were. Some of those women seemed like they were so natural that they didn't even wash their damn faces. The women weren't even washing their faces. Some of them look like, yeah, okay, I got natural hair that I don't comb. So you can't comb and moisturize your hair just because it's natural. Ma'am, you can't wash your face just because it's natural. You can't naturally go get no soap and water and put it on your face. All of those women were dripping with low self-esteem, homely, no intact identity at all, and desperate for black male validation. And I think Miss Velvet's issue was that her light skin privilege didn't give her the privilege that she wanted it, because she seemed like she was a colorist. I don't know. Y'all put a one in the chat box, but Velvet was giving me colorist vibes. And if she wasn't full colorist, she this close. She was this close to being colorist. I don't like that comment she made about he was the first dark-skinned man she dated. Ma'am, like, come on now. You a part of a cult getting your head knocked between the washer and dryer by a conquer bandit calling himself a god. Like, I was like, oh my God. This is like, literally, it was, honestly, it could have been just called the documentary on the relationship dynamic between black men and black women. Literally. She was this girl, this close to coming out full-blown colorism. She was either all the way there or she bordering it. That's the least she was on, is bordering it. Because I'm like, ma'am, I don't know what you mean about that's the only dark skin. Like, I just felt like that comment was kind of unnecessary. Why do we need to know the skin tone of the men that you date, ma'am? And I just got a sense from her that she expected more out of the community because of her light skin. I did. And I think a lot of stuff was like, a lot of the good stuff that she associated with herself was because of her skin tone. That's just kind of what I got from her initially. That's just what I got from her. Because I really thought she was slow. Like I did. Yeah, she did. She's a very pretty girl, though. She is a very pretty girl. Like, I wouldn't take that away from her. I do think she is a very pretty girl. But I think most of her confidence in who she looked like, because she didn't have a lot of confidence. I think she might have had confidence in how she looked because of her light skin. But that's where the confidence ended. But I do actually think she's very pretty. But she seemed slow to me. She seemed slow and developmentally delayed. But this is what I will say. She was slow, might have been slow and developmentally delayed, but she sure did take her baby and get the hell up out of there. She took her baby and got up out of there. Like, she still wasn't submissive. And that's why he doubled down on abusing her, because she wasn't submissive. And he was trying to be this big god in front of these men. But at the end of the day, Velvet wouldn't submit to him. So that's why he had to continue to punch down on her literally and figuratively, because she would not submit to him. And he probably like, oh, these bandits here, they'll bow to me, but this woman won't. She fought him the whole entire time. Sounds like. It sounds like she was fighting him the entire time. Melanated, you said she definitely did not have a lot of confidence outside of her being called Queen Carbon and being light skin colors. Yeah, you can tell that she didn't have any of them. But listen, from the beginning, even before they mentioned it, I already knew that all these people were religious minded. Like, because I was thinking, this sounds like literally a bunch of religious minded idiots who's just been taken for a ride and exploited because this man don't have to show anything. So I already know that they were religious minded, and we already know that religious minded people's brains are more susceptible to being brainwashed. They're also more susceptible to being in the cult. So literally, that documentary and the existence of the Nature Boy cult literally validates the study on people with religious brains. How easy it is to brainwash them, how easy it is to suck them into a cult, because this man did very little. He did, like, I would venture to say he did nothing to validate them blocking their family members, them giving him all their money. These are people who are paying for an illusion. This is what they were paying for. And black women are very fantasy driven. If you, all you got to do is sell black women the fantasy of a good black man or a black man wanting to come and save them, even if he's abusing them wrapped in love, they'll still tolerate it as long as it's the illusion of black male love. The man, like this bandit, this crack baby bandit, he didn't have to show them anything. They all responded to what he told them. All of them responded only to what he told them. And then one of them actually admitted that he used religion. He used the Bible. He used the Bible to manipulate them, because he would say he would bring up certain biblical verses according to the role of a man and the role of a woman to manipulate them. Mind you, he was everything that the Bible actually talked about. The opposite. He was the opposite. He had a haughty attitude. He was very arrogant. He was very abusive. And he was very promiscuous. Like, this man's middle name might as well have been debauchery. Literally. Because of how degenerate he was acting. Yet, they didn't seem to notice it, because what he did not do, let me tell you what he did not do to get them into a cult. These are the things he would have had to do to get me into a cult. He didn't have to do none of these to get them into a cult. He didn't show them that he possessed any real power, nor did he bestow any power on them. He didn't save them from anything. He never provided anything to them. They obtained their own passports, they purchased their own tickets, and they gave him their money. So he offered them nothing but an illusion. He gave them nothing. He displayed no power. In fact, I would actually say during the whole thing, all he showed was how powerless he was. All he was showing all throughout it was how powerless he was. But what he did do is cater to their fantasies and provide them with a safe space to wallow in the illusion of liberation. He gave them the illusion. Basically, he took them on a foreign tour, a Caribbean tour. He basically took them on a tour of the Caribbean countries, abused them, essayed them, and took their money. Basically. Craft Blood said, you would be really surprised. There are a lot of adults who are cognitively delayed. Look at Krishan Rock as an example, but that's not talked about. Men sleeping with them knowing they are slow. That's a whole different story, because I mean, thinking a man is gonna automatically know that somebody is developmentally delayed, like nobody can just spot. Well, some people can, but certain types of developmental delay, you can't just look at somebody and see it and be like, oh, yep, she's developmentally delayed. We didn't think Krishan was slow until she started actively showing us that she was slow. In the beginning, he told them he was a healer, so people with STDs would go to be healed. But again, what did he show? Because that's the thing. I put in here specifically what he did not do. These are things that he did not do. He did not show them that he possessed any power to heal. He didn't show it. So that's what I'm saying. Because black women believe everything that black men say and they don't have to show anything, they're easily brainwashed. Because if you're not asking, like if a bandit come to me and tell me he got some kind of power and he declares himself a god, I'm going to need to see these godlike powers. I'm just going to need to see them. Why am I believing that you're a god and you've shown me nothing about an ability? Like I don't understand how a man can just declare himself a god and a healer. He doesn't have to perform like a god. He doesn't have to heal anyone. But there was an agreement in this cult that this man was a god. There was an agreement by both men and women. He showed nothing. Words are not convincing enough to get me to block my family, leave my home, and go pay. Because again, he wasn't even flying these people out. He wasn't flying them out. They were paying. He didn't pay for the ones who didn't have passports. He didn't pay for their passports. They paid for their passports. They paid for their flight tickets. The only thing he did is send somebody to pick him up at the airport. You said if a bandit came up to me and said he has godlike powers, I'm calling the police. He's clearly on drugs. First, I'm going to tell him to prove it. And if he can't prove it, then I'm calling the police. Maybe he can prove it. I mean, I would think your first step would be like, oh, okay, godlike powers, prove it. And then if he don't prove it and produce no godlike powers, then, you know, he's just a lying ass bandit. You would just then know. But when you're of the mindset that I'm going to have faith in and believe in the, like, because for those other people, they were already believing in a non-existent male God. They were already believing in it. They already believed it. So for the people who are already religious minded, who already operate by faith only, evidence never, it wouldn't be easy. It wouldn't be hard for them because the religions are already patriarchal. They already put human males as the living version of God. So if you believe in that, then yeah, any man can come tell you anything. Any man can come tell you anything, and you're just going to believe it. And that's the mindset of a lot of black women. A lot of black women sit up and call black men kings. A lot of black women call black men gods, knowing they're literally living the life of a conquered, subjugated peasant. Like, it just makes, like, where is the kingly behavior? Where is the godlike power? Or does the person just get to declare themselves a god and then you just worship them accordingly? But all of the women were completely male identified. They were completely masculine and disconnected from their femininity, because understand that as a woman, if you are male identified, you are masculine. It just is what it is. You're not going to say, oh, I'm male identified, but I'm also very feminine. How? You don't even identify with your own femininity. You identify with another man's masculinity. You're always defending the man. You're always fighting for the man. You believe that a man was created to rule over you. These are what these women already believed. So if you already believe these things, even though no one, oh, was I ignoring something you said, Kiana G? Let me go back up and see if I didn't see it. I must have just not have seen it. Let me see. Because I don't see it on here. Yeah, Kiana, I don't see. Oh, yeah, I do. You said, love you so much, Sin. Thank you for doing the work to better the black woman who wants to know they deserve better. P.S. I hate begging, but I wish to be a mod real bad. Oh, you can be a mod. Absolutely. I just type something into the comments right now and I'll make you a mod. Because I can't do it from, or can I do it? Maybe I can do it from your super chat. Oh, yeah, I can. Okay, I can do it from your super chat. All right, so now you are a mod. Sorry, I wasn't ignoring you. I just didn't see it. I didn't. But yeah, if you already subscribe to patriarchal religions, then worshiping a bandit without no proof of any power that he have, which I don't understand how you can ignore how subjugated he is. Like, you literally have to ignore first how subjugated he is. But nonetheless, now let me make you a mod. Tenacious. Okay, there you go. While I'm doing it, Jax Jet, if you want to type into the comment section too, then I can just make you a mod, but because I know you asked. So if you type into the chat, then I can while I'm doing it, I might as well do it. Yeah, y'all, please like the video. If you like it, please like the video. You can thumbs it down if you don't like it either, because I know there's some people who come here to, I guess, hate watch. I was never like a hate watcher of anything, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm not cloud watching people that I don't like, but sure. But all of the women believed in a male deity. They believed in divine male leadership. They believed in female degradation, and they believed in female submission to males. These were already beliefs that these women had. They were already beliefs that these people had. They already had them. All he needed to do was exploit them. I didn't see this man really make them do anything until it got to where he was obviously SA. Then yeah. And that's because he was literally in video saying, I'm gonna make you do this. You ain't making me do nothing. You're not making me do nothing. It just is what it is. You will literally, in that situation, you would almost literally have to beat me to death. Because you know, just like he wasn't easily getting Velvet to do nothing. It wasn't easy for him to get Velvet seemingly to do anything. And that's probably why he crowned her queen. One, because she was lighter, and two, probably because he thought by doing so he could get her to submit. I did. Did I watch the unofficial documentary? No, Nyla, I didn't. But I'll send you the link if you want to come on here and talk about this too, because I know you watched it. I know you watched the documentary. Here, let me put the link in the chat. This link is only for Nyla, so if anybody else take it, they're just going to get bumped off. So, but here's the link. I'll pin it for you if you want to come up and talk about it. But yeah, I didn't see the unofficial documentary, but I did see one from a white man. Apparently, this black dude is not the only one who the first one to come up with this nature boy cult. Let's live off of nature. A white man did that too. But yeah, all of the women already believed what they needed to believe to be ripe for exploitation. And this is why I challenge religion so much. Because what religion requires for women to be, black women specifically, as literally interpreted by black men and a lot of black women, religion requires women to be the footstool of men. And that just is nothing that I'm going to act like I didn't see. I'm not going to act like I don't know that at all. And I'm not going to act like that's a positive mindset for black women to be in. It's not positive for any woman to believe that she was created to be the footstool of a man. A lot of women do believe this, though. A lot of women do believe this. And what they will do outside to try to assuage the cognitive dissonance that comes from this, because they do have cognitive dissonance that comes from it. In order to assuage it, they'll just lie and say, well, the Bible is egalitarian, not patriarchal, when it's literally patriarchal through and through, Old and New Testament. The one thing they're consistent on is that women in that Bible, women are depicted as less than and in need of being monitored and moderated by a man. So for you, if you subscribe to any of the Abrahamic religions, but mostly Christianity, which we already know is very pervasive in the Black community, if these are the belief systems that you have, then you already have the right mindset to be exploited by a cult leader. It's very easy at that point then to get you to be in a cult, to get you to submit to violence, for you to submit to mistreatment and continue to be in those situations. Because notice how there was only 2 women that left. And the second woman who left, she was trying to protect him too. She had to be convinced to protect him, not to protect him, to protect herself. That's what he had to do. She literally had to be convinced by another Black woman. She had to be convinced to stop protecting this bandit and to indeed report him to the police. But with these white people, it was very different. Very different. And I'm going to talk about Velvet again too, but I want to talk really about this white woman, because this white woman coming into the cult, which should have been the biggest display of weakness, but it wasn't. And I don't understand how it wasn't. Because when that Canadian white woman got into that cult member, into that cult, because white people just don't move like Black people do. Sin ain't following a Muslim religion where all men are trying to be good for the men to gain a bunch of virgins. And I don't associate with any Abrahamic religion, and I just never would at all. It was forced on me as a child, but I'm not a child anymore. I'm an adult, and I get to choose what I believe and what I participate in. And I never really believed the religion, and now I just get to choose to not participate in it for the most part. Jasmine, you can send that in an email request for another live stream. On this live stream, we're talking about the Nature Boy documentary on Hulu. So if you have a comment about the Nature Boy documentary on Hulu, please submit that. But we're not going to bring in extra topics in the chat box. I have an email address for that. So if you have any topics that you would like to talk about, or you want me to react to, you need to email me that. We wouldn't put that in the chat box here because we already have a topic. And the topic of this discussion is the Eligio Bishop Nature Boy documentary on Hulu. That's what this is for. That's what this is for. And then after this, I got to get off and go decompress so I can go to therapy, because I actually have a therapy session today. So I'm going to end up having to get off of here. And then once I get off of here, I'm going to go decompress, and then I'm going to go talk to my therapist. Yeah, Helen L., I really think you should. I do think that you should. It was just very eye-opening to me. It highlighted like a huge issue in the mindsets of not really Black men, because I don't feel like Black men are important to the Black community. I feel like Black women are the most important thing to the Black community. There is no community without Black women. There just isn't. There's no, if Black women ain't involved, there is no Black community. And that's regardless to what Black men are doing. Because all Black men want to do is sit up and tell you how many times they were subjugated and somehow translate that weakness into them being gods. Because all it would have took was one woman in here to ask him, why did Black men spend so much time on a plantation if you are gods? How can you say in one breath that someone had you on a plantation, are able to subjugate you, but then you're also saying that they're threatened by you? How are they threatened by you if they had you on a plantation for hundreds of years? And you weren't off the plantation because you fought to get off of it. You got off the plantation because one group of white men could not profit from it, so they went to war. But it wasn't because you fought to get out. So I need to, like this whole Black man is God thing wouldn't work on me because I have a firm grasp on reality. Jax, I need you to put it into the YouTube chat box. It won't let you send a super chat. Just type something in there. You don't have to do that. Just type something in here. And if you're on the if you're in the one that says the original Sin G, which I don't think that you're on this one. You must be on the elevated conscious. You will need to come over to the original Sin G part, and then I'll be able to mod you because I'm not in the comment section of the elevated consciousness. And really, if anybody from there want to come on over to here, I'm mostly using that as a recording backup, so I'll have the content. I probably should have left that one unlisted. In the future, I'm going to leave it unlisted because people really should be over here. That's just backup for content. So I'll have another copy of it. That's all that's for. You said you didn't even know this channel existed until recently and it's your first life because I don't really use it publicly a lot. Like, I don't. Unfortunately, I'm going to try to be more active on it when something important needs to be spoken about publicly, which I really feel like this needs to be hashed out publicly because I don't understand how Black women are seeing Black men as anything other than weak. There's no displaying of strength out of any of them. The only time Black men want to appear to be strong is when they're abusing women and children. And I don't understand how this is escaping Black women. But I'll tell you this, what didn't escape me is the difference in the treatment of that white man and that white woman who got into the cult. And the white woman, it seemed like she wanted to be in there more out of curiosity than anything else. And the fact that she would go join a cult that is primarily Black people tells you how she did not fear or feel that she was unsafe amongst a bunch of Black people. She clearly did not feel like she was unsafe. She clearly didn't. Because she went there as the only white person in general. But what I noticed is that when she got into the cult, let me put Nyla in there. When she got into the cult, hey Nyla, when she got into the cult, it seemed like she did it more out of curiosity. And it seems like the treatment of her was vastly different from Black women. And that's another thing I don't understand how they didn't get, was that, okay, you're being treated very differently than this white woman. There was no mention of him. And you would probably know more, Nyla, because you were actually following it. So I really thank you for coming up here because I know you were following it during that time. That's how I learned about it. I didn't really initially know about Nature Boy, but I remember all the times you would do some late night streams watching Nature Boy. You would comment on it all the time. So I felt like the documentary left out a lot of stuff based on when you were reviewing it. I literally feel like it left out a ton of information. But the white woman, you're on mute. You're on mute, Nyla.
How about now?
Let me see if there's something wrong. Let me just see if there's something wrong with my audio that might be affecting her.
Testing.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, it was me. It wasn't you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my StreamYard, when I put the speaker, it just does weird stuff. But
It does.
do you remember when you were reviewing it when the white girl joined?
Oh, absolutely. Uh-oh, do I
Was
have
she ever hit on or subjugated?
No, I don't. I've never seen her. Hold on a second. It seems like I have an echo. Let me see. Is it still there? It is.
I'll mute. If it is, then I'll mute.
I wonder, is it me? Okay, so it's not me now. All right. So yeah, the white girl was not treated bad at all. I never saw her get yelled at. I never seen her called a bitch. I never seen him call her out of her name at all. I won't say that he treated her great either, because he's trash, but he definitely, there's a noticeable difference on how he treated the black women incoming, or the ones who would actually put some equity into the relationship with him. Clearly, he knew that there was a boundary when it came to her. He knew that. So yeah, absolutely. But I feel like the depiction was not, it definitely didn't depict him for the monster that he is. It didn't bring in the fact that he was also elevating transgender women above black women. Oh yeah, towards the end of his tenure as leader, he was bringing in trans women, saying that trans women were the height of femininity. And if you think about it, though, psychologically, it goes with everything, because number one, obviously, every single problem that he ever had in life and every single piece of turmoil, he related to black women, right? So this was his way of getting back at black women at all times. That happening, and the fact that he constantly beat them, belittled them, and talked about what place they needed to be in, and how the elevation of the black man could only come at the subduing of a black woman, and then bring in a transgender male, trans-identified male, okay, to basically say to the women, this is the height of femininity. So yeah, and I mean, and you know, he was messing with those guys and all that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff did not come out in the documentary. It didn't.
Yeah, because I remember you doing one live. I remember you were reviewing it and said that multiple babies were born there
There
and
were,
met their demise.
let me see, there was at least, I want to say 3 or 4 kids that were born there. So his daughter was
And they only focus on Velvets.
and did they show the other lady's baby being born? Or am I crossing documentaries? No, they did. They only showed Velvet's baby in the documentary. So there was Velvet's baby. There was a baby that was born that died mysteriously. There was, yeah, the dark skinned girl and the one dark skinned girl whose husband was in the documentary. She had a baby there. So yeah, there were about 4 babies born easily.
And see, they didn't mention any of them. Any other of them, and that's weird. I wonder, or maybe when Hulu was gathering the information, they probably should have reached out to some other content creators who was following it more, because they included some in there, but only briefly to show other people talking about it. I don't think they really, I wonder if they really went to them for information, because, excuse me, that's like I would think they would want to put that more in the documentary to make it more salacious. I would think they would want to.
Exactly.
And then someone said that, because remember, he was also with the men. You said that he when you were reviewing it, he was having sex with the men too. Like he was with them and the women.
So they were never forward about it, but I believe that they did mention in the documentary that the men was asked would they drink his semen, and that there were parts when it was actually happening. I'm sorry, the echo. You know I'm old. Echoes by old people. But so there were parts of the time when it was actually going on where the men were drinking his semen. So I mean, that not only is that the height of narcissism, but he's obviously homosexual as well. You know what I mean? Because I don't even think that he was sexually gratified by women. I felt like that was more of a dominating thing, a domination thing. He wanted those men. Okay. He wanted those men. It was all about, well, I feel like with the women, it was not only domination, but also he could dominate the men through the women, right? Because they were weak enough to basically, you know, suck his dick or whatever. But then there was that one young guy, I think his name was Pisces. I think they said that guy actually was like giving him oral sex. So at least that's what it was giving during the height of when it was all going on.
But the thing is, the men were incredibly submissive, and I don't think anybody missed how submissive these dudes were, because one of them, like one of the dudes, when he was interviewing, and I think it was in towards the end of the third episode, or maybe in the fourth, where he was being he came in, he was being interviewed, he was given a lot of details, and he said like the men were very submissive, a lot of them were signing up to be eunuchs. He was talking about why none of the men intervened when he was abusing women, and went to say, well, his belief system was the same as Nature Boys, but now it's not anymore. And it's like, no, you still have that mentality, and you had it before you went into that cult. You're just being asked by, you're talking to a person outside of your community whose judgment you don't want to face. You don't want to seem like you're the same as this Eligio Bishop, even though you are. All of the men have the same sentiments. I mean, they're black men. So we already know black men generally think when it comes to black women in a very degrading way. So it didn't surprise me that all those men stood around and watched Velvet getting abused, but I don't even think Velvet, because I saw part of when Tasha K interviewed him, they only showed a small amount of the fights. Tasha K said he was assigning, like, literally, basically, they had a fight club with the women.
They had a fight club with women. They actually, he would organize it to where they would literally have to fight for his approval, fight for the crown, fight for everything. But on top of that, back to your point about the men being weak, one of the men, the couple, right, that was there, the couple, when Nature Boy told him that he could not have his wife anymore, right, he took that man's wife and was beating her. This was a woman that had given birth to his child, had been with him since the very beginning. And for him to sit back and watch that man physically abuse the mother of his child and the woman that he had married, that just lets you know right there, they didn't care. So not only did they watch these men, watch that man dominate and physically abuse her, he abused their wives. He abused their women. He took their women from them. So as soon as he saw that some of the men were interested in another woman, or another woman was interested in one of the men, he literally would just take her, have sex with her, make her perform oral sex, whatever he could do to degrade that woman. The young woman who is still there, what is her name, guys? The one young girl, she was really cute, brown skinned girl, really thin. I can't think of her name, but when she came there, she came to be there with Solar. Do you know which one is Solar? The light skinned, kind of like, it's light skinned guy. He's kind of goofy, not the one with the really big eyes, but he's just a goofy face one. That guy, the girl came specifically for him. She came on that first day. Nature Boy just took him. Yes, Zoka, that was her. Zoka. Every woman that wanted someone else, he took them, including Velvet. But I think she did go over that during the documentary. Every woman that was interested in someone else had to be interested in him. At one point, he took all of the women. Every woman. There wasn't even a woman that came there that was gay. She was a lesbian. And he convinced her that she was going against nature and that she didn't really, want to be a lesbian, and that in order for her to reach whatever plane, they set for her, that she needed to become a man's wife. And this girl was probably born gay. Okay. I wouldn't even call her a lesbian. I would call her a stud. Okay. And he had her putting on the dress, married to a dude. And I mean, the girl was awkward. She walked like a man. She was very masculine. And I don't know if he ever had sex with her, but he definitely made her be with another man.
I hope what this person said in here is, this person that melanated 483 said, unpopular opinion, I do not feel empathy for Velvet. Velvet participated, and now she's pregnant again by another cult member in the U.S. Do you mean again outside of the pregnancy in the documentary? Because she was pregnant in the documentary. She couldn't possibly still be pregnant with that baby.
She got about 3 or 4 kids now. Velvet has multiple children. Velvet has, let me see. She's got a baby by one of the other dudes that was in the cult. One of the other dudes that was in the cult, the Solar guy that I was just talking about, she had a baby with him. After they left the cult, they got together and she got pregnant by him. Oh, yeah. So she's got a baby by him. She's got a baby by some other dude, and now she's with another dude who I consider a co-leader. Yeah, she like baby Velvet is a baby making sister, honey. She's out here popping them out. Oh yeah.
Yeah, ain't no way, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Because it's like, because what I noticed about the white man is because black people and white people don't have the same psychology. I think we can all agree that the psychology is different. Good, bad, or whatever, that's neither here nor there. They have a different psychology. They move differently, even when dealing with black people. And what I noticed about the two white people, they were not driven to that cult out of trauma. They were driven to the cult out of curiosity. Like the white dude literally said he thought this looked good. He thought the dude was like, he was curious about it. So that's what brought him in there. Not because he was trying to escape systemic racism or he just couldn't compete or what have you. None of the issues that they had. All of them had some type of trauma that was exploited. The women were very male identified, like pick me minded women, basically.
Yeah.
Because pick me women are the only ones that I could see who would go out there and do that. But the man, the white, number one with the white girl, I did see in the video, and you confirmed it, that her treatment was not the same. He also didn't tell her, he also didn't prevent her from leaving. He actually suggested that she leave when Canada had got wind of her being there. And so because he didn't want to deal with Canada's government, i.e. white men, he told her that she might as well just go on. This should have been the first time they saw. This should have been their first indication this is not a God. Because this woman being here is dependent on whether or not the white man is going to, he feels that there's going to be a threat of white male accountability. Mm-hmm. So he just sent her away.
Yep.
The white man left on his own. Like it took that one incident. After that one incident where they were arrested, and I forgot if it was in Costa Rica or Mexico, when they said they were driving through.
It was when
it only took that one situation for that white man. That white man said he was done after that.
But I'm also glad that you mentioned that the white people did not come to the cult in hopes of escaping trauma. They were literally looking to live off the grid, connect with nature. They had different reasons. A lot of the way that we move and that we are taught to move is based on trauma. Everything is like some sort of escapism. But I will say this, even though I do view the women, including Velvet, even though I feel like Velvet is diabolical, I still believe that she's a victim and that there's been some psychological abuse there as well. But part of the reason why they were able to go there, submit to that, and do it very well is because they were patriarchal informed. They were already indoctrinated into, the black man being God. Right? They were already indoctrinated into there's something wrong with black women. It's the reason why these black men aren't able to make it. Because, that was the basis and the foundation of a lot of his doctrine. If the women were in order, we would be in order and all this kind of stuff. So they came there already defeated in a lot of ways, feeling like in order to support themselves or even support these men, they had to take the punishment. They felt like they were in error no matter what they did, because they literally thought that they were dealing with their Messiah. But I also feel like some of it is this is going to sound really bad, Sin. I do feel like some of it is hood rat tendencies too, because I do think that some of them were, this is going to sound real bad. I shouldn't even say it, but some of them were just some freaks that wanted to be dominated and bit off more than they can chew, and ended up into this cycle of abuse. So I do believe that there needs to be some self-accountability as well, because some of those women knew how he was doing those women. He had been putting pornography and stuff like that online with them. So some of them were attracted to that as well. And it goes down to black women having a low self-worth, being okay with being dominated sexually by men that don't value them, men that can't give them anything or do anything to, further their existence or support any children made from said sex or whatever. They felt worthless. And that has a lot to do with, I think, them staying there as well. But some of them also have families that they chose to, just get away from and all this kind of stuff. It's a really weird dynamic, but some of them went over there straight up because they wanted some of that demon dingaling.
I think they had to, because all of them in the documentary said that they were watching online. They said they watched the live stream. So if you watched the live streams and it made you want to go join it, then yeah, I do believe absolutely there had to be some hood rat mentality, because look at also how easy it was for him to get black women to harm other black women. It was nothing for him. Like, you're not getting me to form a circle around you while you beat on a black, like, I'm not doing that. I don't understand that. And I feel like those women came in with a competitive mindset, because that's built into the cult. If he's the cult leader and there's multiple women, one that he's already crowned queen, then there's already a hierarchy being established there. So in order for you to have access to the king, you then have to fight all of these women who are vying for the position of a queen. So that's why I feel like Velvet said when she was in there, she didn't feel like she had any type of relationship with the other women in there. And that's because, yeah, a lot of it is going to be orchestrated by black men. I mean, if there's any situation, I think, involving black men and black women are going to do everything they can to make sure those women are at odds with each other. Because if women are insulated and protecting women, that prevents men from being able to harm. We see this even out in nature among animals, how female animals, they form little coalitions of protection where they will jump a male just for safety reasons, to protect themselves and children. Black women don't do that. And so it's almost like every individual black woman would have felt like she was there by herself, like she had no one. Like, now there's no one I can go to. There's no one I can look to for protection. It should be black women that are there to help with the protection. But the thing that really got me was that I think it was Velvet who said that around the time that she went and got into the cult, because they tried to frame it around, we're trying to escape white supremacy, which to some degree, okay, fine. I'm sure that might have been a small element, that you're going to live off nature and you're going to be in this black cult. But I don't think at the heart of it was white systemic racism. I think at the heart of it was wanting to be in proximity to a black man that positioned himself at the power position, even though he had no power at all. Because in every situation where he said he had power, we were shown how he didn't. Like, he was getting arrested, he was getting deported, his income had to come from soliciting donations. So this man didn't really have a lot of power. If you don't even have the basic power to stay in the country that you're in, you have no power. But it's a fantasy for black women to be the top woman to a man, a black man that positions himself in a place of power, to the degree to where the bare minimum qualification is he has to be black and male. Those are the only qualifications for them to believe everything that he's saying. Because wasn't Kevin Samuels and Nature Boy out during the same time?
Oh, absolutely. And wait a minute, girl. Let's not forget this. These were low effort women on every level. Okay, some of them left children behind, right? So these were women who had, and this is why I'm not trying to diminish their experience and not say that they're victims. Let me be clear, because I know a lot of people sometimes misconstrue that. They are definitely victims of some psychological abuse and lots of physical abuse and all this kind of stuff. However, can I be frank, saying a lot of them were hoes. Okay. And let me explain why I'm saying that. They were low effort to the point where they did not want to do what you and I have done to build lives. They didn't want to get educated. They didn't want to produce anything or do anything on their own. They wanted the easy way out, right? The easy way out is what? Slanging some ass. Okay. So when they watched the whole setup, like you said, there's already queen in place. There's one, alpha male, and, in quotes, right? This is how they're viewing him. So if you have to choose as a low effort woman between going in some remote place to fight amongst a few women for the king versus going out, bettering yourself, doing the work, whatever you have to do. You know what I'm saying? And all you have to do is just compete with a few women like you've been doing on the block anyway. You know what I'm saying? And never forget, you might not have seen it, but I remember covering where Malia, she was a person that was crowned queen after Velvet left, right? So this girl probably got abused specifically for not being Velvet, to be honest. She was abused. She was starved to death. She almost died. She literally almost lost her life because of being malnourished, and she had some sort of STD that had festered into something else. She ended up in the hospital for a long time. Like, it was really scary. Like, if you look back at some of the videos where she was, you could literally see death knocking at this girl's door. I mean, she looks horrific, like literally a walking skeleton, right? But
I think I remember you showing us some of it where, you know, their titties were sagging and you could see bones in their backs coming out and things like that. Yeah, I remember you showing that.
Yeah, but in particular, she was really bad. She was really to the point where she couldn't even walk at points, right? Now, she got herself healthy, went to the hospital, went to her family, went back to Nature Boy, right? Then decided that she wanted to leave. Do you know that the girls were beating her up because she wanted to leave? And one of the things that Neytiri said to her, why do you want to leave? You get the most dingling. He gives it to you the most. And like, even, and I'm not even trying to be TMI, but this is how sick it was, right? One of the girls he would never even sleep with. Efuru, he would never even sleep with her. She was only allowed to give him oral sex. The other girl, Aya, okay, the she's gone. She's safe. She's broken away from it completely, thank God. He only had anal with her, right? And she even described it as something that, like, she described it as, you know, like she wasn't really there. Like she just allowed him to do this, even though you could tell this was not something that she was interested in. She didn't want to do it, but whatever to be close to him or to gain his approval, he would do. So he wasn't even sleeping with all of these girls. And even some of the ones that he did have sexual contact with, it was very limited, but they beat her and then told her, you have nothing to complain about. You get all the D.
Well, that's why I'm saying the fact that if he was able to get those women to behave like that, it's already in them. It's already in them. I don't see anything that he would have went in and created in them. I don't see any created pathologies. I see pathologies, pre-existing pathologies already being exploited. So that means these would have been women who likely would have been in the comment section talking about, because they wear their natural hair and they're more submissive, then they appeal more to the men.
Yes.
So basically the mammy and mule sector of the community.
As they get their ass whooped.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But how many married women do you see who promote, or stories have you seen where there's a married woman who will get toe tagged by her husband, and they'll make it known that while she was putting, I think I watched a Fatal Attraction episode of this one woman. She was a Christian woman too. And actually it was two of them. While this woman was online promoting her marriage and her ring, literally this man wasn't committed to her. He was cheating on her. He was almost never there. There was another one. She was doing it, and the man was doing the same thing, cheating on her, beating on her, and one of them wanted to get married to him, so she wasn't married to him. She had been engaged to him. And they said in the show, oh, she loved taking her ring and bragging all over social media, even though she was in this situation with this pastoral man who barely wanted her, who was repeatedly cheating on her. She knew he was cheating on her. But because she wanted to go flex online with a ring, not being married, just being engaged, that's why she was doing it. And then he ultimately toe tagged her because he already had a wife. And she was pressuring him to marry her, but he already had a wife. And so it's just like that mentality, I feel like, is what would drive them to being in the cults. Because listen, when you if you do research with AI, it's gonna try to politically correct you. Like I told ChatGPT to pull up the personality types and the traits of people who are most acceptable to being in a cult. Because it tried to say, oh, anyone could be in a cult if they have vulnerabilities. Yeah, but only certain people end up in cults, and only certain people stay in cults, and only certain people progress and navigate through those cults. And I want to know the personality types of those people. And then I told it to compare it to the studies on religious belief and participation and lower intellect. So that's what I have to tell it to do, because I was like, there's no way these people are smart.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry. Were you gonna read you're about to read something?
No, I have to get it. So I have to pull it
Okay.
up.
So I wanted to say something. So since you mentioned the lady who was basically getting her ass handed to her by her husband, you know what I'm saying? It's weird that Black women have allowed men to create for them a social hierarchy where the top of that hierarchy is the married woman. And I say this as a married woman, but they put married women at the top of the social hierarchy, right? But think about what a cruel joke that is when only 30% of them are going to get married, when they're going to date out at higher rates, almost rivaling Asian women and all this kind of stuff. They do not have a culture of marriage, but tell you cannot be at the top of the social hierarchy within the Black community without a husband. So, you know how they try to take a woman who's degreed, has a business, she's papered up or whatever. Oh, but where's her husband? You know, I mean, it's just insane. Absolutely insane. You still on mute, honey.
Yeah, I didn't want to be contributing to the thing. I want to share the screen because now I have it with the personality traits. And the thing is, when I go over this, you would think that I'm doing it to be petty and bash Christians. Okay, fine. Sometimes, once or twice, maybe. The petty in me did it just to antagonize Christians. But here's the thing. There is a certain mindset and intellectual level associated with these people. And I know that we're not supposed to call them dumb. We're supposed to call them something else. We're not supposed to call them dumb or weak. But these are two things that I see them as. Because hear me out. If somebody can tell you something but don't have to prove it, then I'm never going to see you as smart. I'm never going to see that person as smart. Like my brain can't see a person as smart who just believes what they're told and they never have to prove it. So to me, that's not smart. So you said you were just say indoctrinated. Okay. That's a nice way of saying it. Yeah, we'll do that.
That's the correct way.
Weak and indoctrinated though, because there's a high level of weakness here among all of them. But so these are some of the traits that they said is acceptable. I'm trying to, oh, here it is where I can, there we go, make it bigger. Okay, now hopefully y'all can see it. Let me pull this up on my, on my phone so I can see it outside of that. Oh, I don't see it. Oh, here it is. No.
But I feel like I've read studies that say that Black people are more likely to end up in cults.
They are, because they're the most religious believing. And those, you probably saw the ones that said that Black women, because there are studies out there that say Black women take religion, they try to do it literally. Is what they try to do with these religions. They literally try to do it at face value. Like, and it's just like, okay. Oh, I gotta switch. I do. I gotta switch channels. That's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, I'm not gonna put all too much into that. I just won't be able to see the chat. Y'all, I temporarily won't be able to see the chat because I need to go over this thing, and I would have to do too much, and I don't have a lot of time left. I think I have about 20 minutes now because I have a therapy appointment at 3, and I need to decompress first. So I'm gonna need at least 15 minutes to decompress, because then. Yeah, I'm not trying to have like a panic attack, but anyway. So it says this document summarizes reputable psychological research on traits associated with cult susceptibility and compares those findings with research examining correlations between religious belief, cognitive style, authoritarianism, and measured intelligence. The comparison is descriptive rather than causal. Researchers generally caution against reducing either cult involvement or religious belief to a single variable such as intelligence. But of course, we know this is not just the issue of intelligence. We already know it. So, let me just make sure I'm where I need to be. Okay, so these are the traits that are commonly associated with cult susceptibility. So, dependency needs, strong desire for guidance, approval, or emotional support from authority figures. So, this is where Black women will fall in. A strong desire to be led by Black men, strongly want Black male approval, and definitely want emotional support from a Black male authority figure. This is what Black women want. This is why you can have the Kevin Samuels up here. This is why you can have any of the podcasters who are unqualified, inarticulate, but Black and male, and you see large amounts of Black women flocking to them. Kevin Samuels should have never been popular. Because Kevin Samuels was popular, we now know that there is a large amount of Black women who actually have these traits that makes them susceptible to cults. Need for belonging, heightened susceptibility during periods of loneliness or social isolation. That bandit specifically on there said he wanted to be a part of a brotherhood. Identity instability, weak or disrupted self-concept during major life transitions. Again, male-identified women, if you are identified with a man as a woman, then you have a weak or disrupted self-concept. You just do. And look, girl, we live here. This is where we live. Major life transitions. This is where your average Black person lives in a cycle of major life transitions.
Girl.
It said you said what?
Oh no, I'm just reading. I'm just reading this read.
Because it says high susceptibility, greater responsiveness to group pressure and emotional influence. We know that's a bunch of Black women. Authoritarian submission, preference for strong leaders, rigid hierarchy, and obedience. We can't say that Black men and Black women don't subscribe to this because Black women are the most religious and mostly participate and believe in, statistically, this patriarchal religion. So yes, Black women do have a preference for strong leaders, rigid hierarchy, and obedience. A lot of them will get married not because they truly want to be married, but because they believe it places them above other women. So everything that's rooted in the mindsets of Black women, I ain't gonna say everything, but nearly, is based on this authoritarian submission. Yeah. When you're trying to make streams and build movements on how to be submissive to a man, what do you need to do to get married to a man? We're going to worship a male god over here. Yeah, this is 100% the Black community. Low tolerance for uncertainty. Discomfort with ambiguity and attraction to absolute answers. And so if Christianity in all of its falseness is providing you with answers or seeming to provide you with answers to the questions you have, then yeah, you have a low tolerance for uncertainty. That's what that bandit Eligio was exploiting too. I don't know how to get out of white supremacy. I want to live on the land. I don't know how to get out the matrix. So even though they were still in the matrix, he gave them the illusion of liberation. And that's why they were over there.
Yep.
Trauma vulnerability, periods of grief, abuse recovery, or emotional instability increasingly susceptible. We already know this is the Black community, period. This right here, this is definitely the Black community. Conformity orientation, high concern with social approval and group cohesion. Don't Black women get married primarily because they're supposed to? Primarily because they don't want to be called a baby mama? Primarily because they don't want to be seen as somebody who had a baby out of wedlock? So yeah, Black women are right before a cult. You have a high concern with social approval and group cohesion. Black women live 99% of their lives based on society's opinion of them. Oh, I need to be doing this at a certain age. Oh, you're not supposed to be doing this. Oh, you're supposed to be marrying before you carry. We go ignore the fact that marrying before you carry doesn't make you not be a single mother, but sure, marry before you carry just because it's the right way. I hope Megan Thee Stallion do it the right way, i.e. society's way. Definitely Black women. So here are the key researchers and sources. So then it went to research on religious belief and intelligence. Some studies have reported a modest negative correlation between traditional religious belief and scores on certain IQ or analytical reading measures. However, the relationships is debated, heavily contextual, and often overstated in public. It can be debatable, but at the end of the day, it's demonstrated every time you talk to a religious person. So this can do this. It can put this disclaimer out here. But this negative correlation between traditional religious beliefs and IQ, I believe, is undefeated. And you need to do nothing more than talk to a Christian. And you're going to see exactly how religious belief and a lack of intellect collides.
Mm-hmm.
We can pull a Christian up here right now, and even if they don't want to prove our point, they're going to prove our point. So it said major findings is the analytic versus intuitive thinking. Some studies suggest highly religious individuals rely more on intuitive thinking styles, while less religious individuals score high on analytical reasoning, logic versus emotion, basically. Certain forms of rigid religious fundamentalism correlate with the authoritarian personality traits, including obedience to authority and black and white thinking. Need for certainty. Researchers have linked strong religious fundamentalism with lower tolerance for ambiguity and higher need for cognitive culture. Do you see the overlaps with the cult mentality? Because these are the overlaps that you see. Social and emotional functions. Religious participants can also provide social support, meaning, emotional regulation, and community belonging independent of intellectual measures. And a lot of these, especially community belonging, was coming out of the mouth of the men. They wanted to be in a brotherhood. They wanted to belong somewhere. Because look, it's saying 3 areas of overlap between cult psychology and certain forms of religious fundamentalism. The overlaps are authoritarian submission, reliance on absolute truth claims, us versus them worldview. This was exploited a lot. Oh, we the black man. Huh?
No, I'm saying, can we throw in there, because with the religious part, what really goes hand in hand with that is that mentality that black women are socially rewarded for suffering in silence, and we're penalized for having standards. That coupled with that, just it literally nails the head in the coffin. It really does.
Yep. And then I see the people in here saying they'll say no wedding, no womb. Yep. Everything relies around a man. Well, you will know these women because it's going to center man in anything. No wedding, no womb, it centers the man and what the man is doing. They're basically saying, well, if the man ain't marrying you, if the man ain't giving you a ring, then don't have a baby. So don't use your reproductive system unless you tied to a man. Marry before you carry, the same thing. Go tie yourself to a man. You need to be tied to a man. Oh, society says I'm 30, I need to get married, which is what I think Ashanti did. Rushed out to go marry Nelly because everybody was saying, oh, Ashanti in her 40s, she don't have a child now, And same thing Nicki Minaj did. Let me just go off and marry this pedo because I'm in my 30s and people are saying I'm successful, but I don't got a baby and a husband. So, black women, you base your life off of society. You just do. And not only do you base your life off of society's expectations, when you see a woman, another black woman who is not living her life in accordance to society's expectations, you will sit there and shame her because you think she should comply, because you agree that there is a hierarchy and women should be complying with what males set up. Of course, males are going to tell you don't use your reproductive system unless you tie to them, because then they can control it.
That's right.
Yeah, they said the trad sister wife. Yep, yeah, they will attack. Go in any comment section and say you ain't getting married, and watch how many of them say, "Oh, you promoting baby mamahood. Oh, it's best for a kid to be in a 2-parent home." Well, how is it best for the kids to be in a home with a man, but also at the same time the man makes the house less safe because his presence undisputably makes the home less safe. He doesn't make it safer. He makes it less safe because he is the main threat in that home. So how, by bringing the main threat in the home, how is that best for the children?
You better
When they
preach, girl.
daddy the one most likely to touch him. Yep, a dad unalived his 8 kids, right. The home was not more safe when he was in it. It was less safe. But they still promote these sentiments nonetheless, and they're still doing it. Emphasis on obedience, punishment for dissent, group identity over individual identity, wanting to push people to do the same thing that you should do. So because you think you need to be married before you have a child, other women should. And if they don't, you gonna call them names. Like the women who center men but pretend that they don't. They just center men in dresses. And they think it's not male worship, but it is, because you're still centering a man above women's. You're centering this man's feelings and his fantasy over the identity of women.
Come through.
So
Sam.
even those women are doing it. They will deny centering the man, but they are still centering the man. Punishment for dissent. Oh, well, she wanted to be a baby mama because she didn't get married first. Well, she ain't married. Fear-based social control, isolation from contradictory information, need for certainty and structure. Notice how he kept telling them, oh, you got to leave your family. You have to isolate yourself from your family. They don't understand living on the land. It says researchers generally distinguish between ordinary religious practices and high coercive control systems. The reason why it has to make this claimer is because there is no distinction between how religions function and cults function. They are just looked at differently. Because look, most religious believers are not said to be members of a cult. Even though the religion functions the same as a cult, because they are widely accepted, they are not classified as a cult, even though they are and they function like them. Like, Christianity is way more protected than it should be. Like, because I feel like it's absolutely a cult. It functions like a cult. The people in them act like cults because based on religion, they will absolutely separate themselves from their family. They will absolutely shun other members of their family and friends if they don't celebrate the same, if they don't subscribe to the same religion, basically. This is telling me I need to wrap it up because it's like, girl, you about to have to go sit in front of this therapist and I'm starting to get anxiety.
No, you've been preaching. You have been preaching. I have one question, so I can, and then I'll get out of here so that you can wrap up. I've often thought that not being pro-black per se, because I know everybody has varying degrees of what that means, but the pro-black community, period, is a cult.
It is.
It's a cult. The conscious community, a cult. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about, there's not that many degrees of separation between them and religion. Even though, because even in these online communities, they're very cultish, very cultish. And if you look at the dynamics, just the bones of the dynamics, when you lay out what Nature Boy did, what Jim Jones did, what any of these Dr. Malachi Z. York, in any of them, if you align it with a lot of the behaviors and the practices and even the temperament of a lot of the pro-Black communities, conscious communities, nearly every religious community, it's all the same, including the psychological effects on the people that are involved, and including that they all include oppression of women, valuing women based off of how much crap they can take, valuing women on, you know, having no standards. Like, I don't know if we had talked about this, but I feel like even when you look at the men who praise Clarissa Shields, these are men who are predatory. Think, why is Umar Johnson praising her? Because he likes silly women that will open up their bags and give him access without, you know, with for nothing. You know what I mean? You think about it. She's young. She's willing to deteriorate her image. She's willing to lower her standards. She's willing to diminish her accomplishments, all to audition for the affection of a man that is already married, less accomplished, and with no bag, and with nothing to offer her.
Girl, listen, we could literally do like a whole, and probably should do a whole live on Clarissa. But what do you think about this chick here on the Stephon Diggs trial? This is her. They said a day after the assault, hours to a day after the assault that she claimed she had.
Girl, what is she doing?
Dancing around
After he whooped her?
Yeah, this is supposed to be after. It said hours to 1 day. It says video of Stephon Diggs, former chef, smiling and dancing within hours to a day after the alleged hack played it. Listen, anybody who watched those clips know this lady ain't about to win. Like the fact that she was smiling and looking like she's reciting a fantasy when she was talking about the situation, it's like, oh girl, you're just a groupie and you got replaced and that's why you mad. Because it ain't even, and that's me saying that, believing that he did do something to her. I do believe he did something to her. He's a Black man. Most of them are emotionally unhinged. Of course he did something to her. But do I think she's weighing it as heavy as she's trying to portray? No, I don't.
Okay, so she's probably, I'm trying to find the category. What kind of mammy is she? She would probably be, she's the survivor mammy. She's probably the survivor mammy, I would say. Or maybe, I don't even think, she's probably unaware. She probably doesn't even realize how stupid she looks or how stupid she's been. I can't.
Like the fact that they just like trolling her to oblivion is like killing me.
And when she responds, it's worse. Her response just gives her more material.
Yeah, that was Isaiah Martin. I don't know why he keeps coming up on my For You on TikTok. I didn't even know who he was, but it's like he's trolling the hell out of this lady.
I lose it every time that video comes. Every time that video comes.
She's a she demon. She's literally like a demon. I only believe that Erica Kirk is a demoness. I do.
Oh, for sure.
I do. I don't think. Yeah, this lady is a mess. I don't know what situation Cardi B done got herself in, but girl,
Cardi Bird knows how to pick them. That's all I can say. She knows how to pick them.
I mean, because look at her. She taking Tasha K back to court for talking about Offset's gambling. Why is this woman not taking Selena Powell to court?
That's what I'm saying. Selena is really the one that made her look bad. And on top of that, really, Offset, I believe, is messing around with a relative, I might be mistaken, of Tasha. So why does, and that's a mammy. Cardi, can we talk about that for a second? Cardi B is a mammy.
She is.
She's a mammy.
She definitely is a pick-me, huge pick-me.
Because, like, why would you care about what Tasha says about Offset after all the stuff that he did to you? Why would you care?
She doesn't like black women, and it's quite clear that she doesn't like black women. But black women worship Cardi B, and I don't understand why. Like, Cardi B is a hood rat. She's a bird. She's like a simpleton. The only respect I can give to her is respect for the fact that she's actually being who she is. That's it. She's being authentic to who she is, the hood rat. And it's like anybody who thinks that there's going to be an upstanding man who just comes and claims Cardi B, it's not going to happen. Cardi B is a certain type of woman. She will attract a certain type of man. And I don't believe, and I even said it before she got with Stephon Diggs. The only, and I'll say it again, the only man, unless Cardi B changes, the only man she's going to attract is Offset or worse. That's it. She gonna attract him or worse, because that's in alignment with the type of woman she is.
Who taking her home? If my son brought somebody like Cardi B home, girl, I would not allow that woman in my house. Whose respectful son from a decent family is letting Cardi Bird in there? Can any good person, like, no. I don't know. She might as well stay.
Girl, nobody. Ain't no upstanding nothing bringing in Cardi BV. It's like she's just weird. I just never liked her, even from Love and Hip Hop, because it's like, wasn't she raging on a dark skinned black woman in Love and Hip Hop?
Always.
On some I took your man, and it's just like, girl, you're nasty and vile. That's why I don't understand how many black women like her, except that they're hood rats too. They have to be. They have to be hood rats too.
Absolutely, girl. Absolutely.
Because, like,
Somebody
absolutely
in your chat said Cardi BV. I cannot.
Yeah, because that's what I call her.
You call her Cardi BV? Now, Cynthia.
She has to be. Like, if you're gonna get BV if you having sex with two men at
Oh my God.
right after another. You're gonna get it.
This is true. She definitely is gonna have a little fun.
And especially when both of them are dirty dick bandits. Both of them
You know,
are dirty dick bandits. So
did you see when she said the last time she responded to Tasha K, she was like, "My baby was made in love. We was fucking down until it stank." And I said, "Now, Muffin, if you were fucking down until it stank, Muffin, that's BV. That, like, you shouldn't have shared that with us. And then you want to sue people for assuming that you got something going on that on fire down there." But she literally said it. We was fucking until it stank. I have never fucked until it stank.
it's giving the clap. It's giving, give her a round of applause, and that's why it was smelling like that. Cause girl,
Exactly.
I'm sure it shouldn't be stinking.
It should not
I don't even know how you do that. Like, how do you, unless you already stink? How do you? She was already a stinking ass bitch. That's all I'm saying. She was. Because there's no other way she could.
Allegedly, we don't want no problem.
Yeah, allegedly, sure. Allegedly, for weak Cardi B, who want to say she a gangster, but she ain't. She's so weak.
Right.
She's just weak. I don't like weak people. She's just weak.
But thank you so much for having me up, Cian. I definitely appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Do your thing.
It's definitely my pleasure. We'll have to do it again, just not on the day where I gotta get into this therapy and start talking about this hard stuff that I'd rather not talk about. But that's what I'm there for, right?
Girl, it's your ministry. I will talk to you guys later. You guys have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.